Hello, Rob, Kate, David, and cryptproject watchers. Today is Monday, and guess what I've been doing? That video courtesy of my mother, aka Mrs. Werner Herzog. Saturday was National Knit in Public Day, so me and my friend Laura went to Starbucks and worked on some projects for a couple of hours.
This is National Knit in Public Day, and me and my friend Laura are sitting here in Starbucks, and we're knitting. That's my stuff down there. I'm knitting a piece of a bag that I've been working on for a while, and this is Laura over here doing her knitting. Laura, what are you knitting?
I'm knitting baby booties.
National Knit in Public Day got me thinking that since it's Monday, and Monday means that I get to issue all of you a challenge, that I was going to challenge you guys to do a how-to video. It could be any kind of how-to you want, silly or practical, anything you want, cooking, doing a magic trick, doing calculus homework, whatever. I'm going to spend this video today showing you how to knit. My apologies in advance for the length of this next part of the video, but in order to effectively show you how to knit, I'm going to try and take it a little bit slow, so this video is probably going to end up going well over 5 minutes long. Now what we're going to want to do before we do any knitting at all is we're going to want to cast on our first row of stitches, which starts off your knitting and also determines the width of whatever it is that you're going to make. So what we do is we take our yarn, make sure first of all that you have a long enough tail, because the tail also goes into the first row of knitting, so make sure that you don't run out. Make it nice and long. What we're going to do is we're going to take our yarn and take your thumb and your forefinger, make them like a gun. You take your yarn and you hold it in your fingers like that. Take it around your thumb, and then around your forefinger, and then back in between your fingers. So there you have like a little triangle. And then you take your needle, just one needle, go like this underneath that first bit, pull it down, go underneath your thumb, go back over, go underneath the string of your forefinger, go back underneath your thumb, pull it off, and you've got your first 2 stitches right there. What you're going to want to do is keep going that same way, under, over, back through, and off, and keep doing it until you've got the width of stitches that you want on your needle. Okay, now that you've cast on your stitches, I've got about 35 on my needle right now. You're going to want to knit a row. So what you do is you take your needle, you put it up through the bottom of your first loop there. You take the string, you go around the back of the needle, pull the needle through, and under, and then you pull off the other side of that first needle. And you've got your first stitch, and you just keep going like that, back over, oh sorry, like that, there, there, and then back through again and again until you've reached the end of your row. Now once you reach the end of your scarf, I'm just going to do it after a few rows here because I'm not actually going to make a full scarf. You want to do what is called casting off or binding off, which is, you know, making the end of your scarf and tying up all the loose ends. So what you want to do, and this is the same no matter if you're knitting or purling, this is just the general rule, you knit 2 stitches, just like usual. And once you've knit those 2 stitches, you take this bottom stitch here, right here, you take it, and you pull it over the top of the needle so that there's only 1 stitch left on this one needle here. And then you knit another stitch, and you do the same thing. You take the bottom stitch, pull it over the top, and let it go. When you do that, until you've reached the end of the row. And then once you do reach the end of the row, you can tie a knot so that it doesn't get left out, and then cut off the yarn. And then what you want to do is weave in both the leftover tails on either end, the tail that you had from casting on and the tail that you have from binding off. Make sure that you don't cut them too closely, and make sure that you do weave in the ends, because otherwise it may come unraveled, and nobody wants that. Now, usually, depending on what you want to make, there are patterns. I recommend the Stitch and Bitch books. They have some really great patterns and lots of tips for people who are beginning to knit. And they tell you a lot of good information, you know, knitting, purling, basic stitches, shortcuts, and lots of really great little how-tos, and like I said, really good patterns. They also teach you how to read a pattern. Usually the pattern will tell you what kind of yarn you need, what color, how long the yarn needs to be, how many stitches you need to cast on, and how many rows you need to knit of a certain color or a certain style of knitting and purling before you need to change it. Some of them are harder to read than others, but generally Stitch and Bitch will point you in the right direction when it comes to what means what. David, I'll see you tomorrow.